Hello everyone, welcome to the Twilight Executive channel. My name is Maestroke, and today I'll be showing you how to hold against Terran drops as Protoss. The kind provided as replay is Horizonz, which if you notice on our channel description is the expert of the channel. I'm just the commentator. Alright, so let's speed this up a little bit. Mainly when you're defending against drop harass, or any kind of aggression, early aggression in general as Protoss, is your main core unit to defend will be the mothership core, and the main building will be a pylon, mainly because of pylon overcharge. So here, Horizonz goes for a normal gate expand. He scouts right after his gateway is done, because it is a 4-player map, you need to know where he is. The Terran guy is. And so, yeah, normal standard. Let's watch scouting probe actually. So yeah, scouting probe goes around. Everything Horizon's doing right now is standard anyways. Normal gate expand, cybercore after next eye down. Yeah, just in case. So here, we see the probes scouting around. He finally spots the Terran, and what you want to see is expansion, 1, a barracks, at his base, might I add, 2, and I don't know if he actually clicked on that to see what was being made, but he does know, like, okay, he has 1 gas, bunch of SCVs and Reaper, so it won't be like any cheesy build or like anything weird like that. Meanwhile at home, he just started producing in depth and warp gate research. After this probe, I think he actually produces a mothership core. Yeah. So mothership core, mostly you want it so you can overcharge these 2 pylons if they ever threaten your mineral line. These 2 pylons actually cover the whole entire thing, unless any comes from back here, which you'll probably want to add a pylon here back here later on. And Terran on the other hand has to scout all 4 places since it is a 4-player map, and Horizon's just macroing right now. Not much going on. Keeps an adept at the front of the base. So if any, alright, unit positioning. Mothership core, you want rotating around your main, especially since Terran has a Reaper, 1. 2, they also have medevacs later in the game, so you want this to hold against any aggression towards your mineral line and stuff. But in the early game, you don't need Observer yet, because Terran has no access to any invisible units or borrowed units. Second, Horizonz is keeping his Adept at the front, mainly because on this map, the natural can only be threatened either by air, from back here, or from the front. So he keeps an Adept at the front, so the Reaper can only head in this way, or he goes around like that way. But it's extremely unlikely. So, Mothership core, main. First unit you make, it could be an Adept or Stalker. Some people prefer Adepts because they do bonus damage against light units, and they have the phase sonic transfer ability, which allows you to scout later on in the game. So yeah, Mothership core main, first unit, front line. Meanwhile he's just macroing behind this, see, producing probes. He gets a Twilight Council, just first tech option, it's pretty standard as Protoss. And Reaper comes, he sees a Reaper, does a little bit damage to it and just chases it. And then you want to keep the Reaper away from your probes. You just want to avoid probe damage early game. And the Reaper comes up to the main. Meanwhile, Horizonz keeps his Adept on the low ground, because either 1, the Reaper will leave this way. There's only this way, you can't leap this cliff, it's too far up. Or he'll either just leave the main entrance this way, which he could do, but this way would probably be better, since it leverages the Reaper's cliff jumping ability. So he comes in, tries to get some harass, he sees the mothership core, he knows he can't do anything, because the pylon overcharges 2 shots Reapers. And the Adept's just sitting there, just waiting for him to come down, get some damage off. And sends a Sonic Shade. Mainly we want to get the Twilight Council first, is for Blink, which I'll be researching soon. Yeah, Blink. Because Blink is very useful for Stalkers when you're holding off drops, because their increased mobility is 1, and 2nd they can attack air units. So he sends a Shade and Adept to the tower, just so he gets some vision, see if any aggressions come across the map. Also at the meantime, he's also building 2 more warp gates. It's standard after your Twilight Council, because that's your first tech option, 2 gates. And he's also saturating his 2nd. He's also getting a 3rd gas, because he wants to tech up early. And he sends an Adept to the enemy base to scout. Let's see, speed up a little bit. Okay. So Adept here is coming in to scout. throws in a psionic transfer, shade, and backs away. He sees the composition is purely Marines, and he also sees that this tech lab and reactor. So he also sees it researching. I'm not sure if he was looking there or not, but if you see a tech lab, you either expect marauders or some kind of upgrades. And he sends his adept back to the watchtower. Meanwhile, he warped in. His first warp in, right as soon as warp gate finished, was 3 stalkers. Because if you micro stalkers well, they're extremely cost efficient. Same thing with any Protoss unit actually. And then he warps into depths, because all he saw were Marines. And a pure Marine composition is not good against adepts. And stalkers can outrange Marines, by the way. Range of 6. So let's press play. Also adding in 2 more warp gates, mainly because his second is fully saturated. Mothership core is still patrolling over his... Actually, let's slow this down. He's patrolling over its main. You want to keep the mothership core patrolling because of acceleration in this game. The mothership's core acceleration from standing still is extremely slow. So if it's patrolling this and you move it somewhere, it won't need to accelerate. It will be at max speed, so it won't accelerate anymore. But if you leave it standing still, it will need to accelerate, and it takes a long time to get up there. So meanwhile, Horizonz, the drop went over his third, and Horizonz has good map awareness. So he's seen like, okay, drop's coming this way, and he sends his army up here. This mothership course will also be preparing for a pylon overcharge somewhere. So he warps in depth there. The depth gets sniped pretty easily. He pylon overcharges this pylon, and this one too. Not really necessary, I'd say, but just in case the Marines went into this way and just ditched the pylon completely. And also, this one will zone out them from coming in here. Meanwhile, his army is coming up here. It'll give him a really good concave on Blake's army. So comes in, holds off the drop, he blinks 1 stalker back, good micro. And he tries to snipe the medevac, but 2 stalkers have blink on cooldown, or just that one actually. He didn't select the other one. And Blake drops at his third. Horizonz knows he can't make it in time, so he has to cancel it. Meanwhile, he's researching resonating glaives and an observer. Mainly, you want the observer first for vision. You may use an immortal, or may use an immortal if you're not confident in your micro. And he has marauders, but yeah, it's not necessary 100% of the time. So he knows that the Terran drop is still alive. So he builds pylons around the perimeter of his base. So if they ever come in, he can just pylon overcharge and either damage the medevac enough to force it to run away, or kill it while it's unloading. So he thinks the medevac is still over here somewhere. So he tries to chase, but probe sees it. Blake snipes the probe. Observer meanwhile is going across the map. Horizon has to rotate his army back, but pylon overcharge actually helps him out here too. He also warps into depths to fight here. And he has a few units in this is natural, and he holds off the drop. So the drop goes back. It's going to drop here because it saw Stalker, I think. That might be the reasoning why. But he loses it. Blake loses everything. Terran loses everything. Meanwhile, observers are going across the map. He takes out both of these medevacs. So where Horizonz is sending these observers is one near the third, so you can see when they expands. Second one is, I think, over production. Yeah, over the production. Meanwhile, Horizonz is aggressively pushing out right now. Right now he has the upper hand. Terran definitely has lost more than him. So let's see, production there. Also, he's expanded to his third and added 2 more warp gates on. Actually added those 2 warp gates when his natural is saturated. When you expand to your third, you want to choose tech option, robotics bay, and 2 warp gates. So you have a total of 7 gates, and he has a few extra pylons here in case of another drop. Also, he's researching +1, which you kind of want to do as soon as possible, stay ahead of the Terran upgrades. And he's not producing anything with his Robo Bay. Twilight Council's not producing anything either. We're researching. Also takes his 4th gas at his second, because after expanding to your third, you want to take the 4th gas, because Protoss is actually more gas intensive than Terran. When you're researching and producing and everything like that, all their high-tech units use a lot of gas. So Horizon's pushing across right now. Slow down. So Blake decides to drop and do frontal assault instead of coming into the back or whatever. Horizonz sends his observer somewhere else since he has vision here already. He also denies the Terran's third. So yeah. Also, what he's doing is warping in units at home to hold off against this drop. Meanwhile, usually when you attack someone as Protoss, you want to warp in units as home because your army is extremely slow as Protoss, and if you can't like take out their army in time, you'll probably lose the game because your army just won't get back to base fast enough. And yeah. See, that pylon overcharge is kind of late, but he does still have this, and he has more units coming in. Meanwhile, he's also attacking the front of Blake. He sees that there are like no units here, so he has an advantage right now. He's just gonna press that advantage, kill Marauder. I think he kills Marauder. Anyway, he has to pull the SCVs, pull the workers, and then he GG's. Because 1, resonating glaives, 2, adepts eat SCVs for breakfast, and he has no units at home to defend. Meanwhile, Horizonz has a mothership core with enough energy for a pylon overcharge and more units at home, and an immortal. Also, I think his warp gates are off cooldown as well. Yeah, all 5 warp gates, all 7 warp gates are off cooldown, and these marines will not hold against 7 adepts. So yeah, mainly hold off drops. You want to use your mothership core. Pylon placement is extremely important. Try to figure out the comp of your enemy. If you can't, it's okay. Just try to. It'll give you an advantage. Try to get a third as soon as possible. But if they start like attacking your third, don't try to like defend it and lose all your units in the progress. Just sack it. Just cancel the warp in. You also want to get really good map awareness, because you're not going to be looking at your main all the time, right? Because you want to look at the map and see, okay, there's a drop here, and you want to press an advantage when you have it as well. See, Blake here was going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's another racks behind there, I think. Yeah, 7 racks and a third at the same time. He was being very greedy, and he has a tech lab on the factory. I'm not sure why, unless he was producing tanks, and he went double in Bay. So yeah. If you like our videos, press like. If you have any comments about them, comment down below. Any criticism is encouraged. If you don't like the video, do feel free to dislike it, but please do comment and tell us why you disliked the video. And I think that's it. See you guys next time.